Epicor Software is one of the leading ERP systems in the industry, but I wanted to know a little bit more about the company and find out what they're all about, so I decided to come behind the scenes at their global headquarters to find out. I'm going in. In this video series, I go behind the scenes of the leading software vendors. These software vendors are not involved in the financing or production of the videos. Third Stage Consulting and I are both independent and unaffiliated with this vendor and other software vendors in the market. Kristen, how are you? Good to see you.
It's great to see you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's fun to have you here at our headquarters.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This is a great opportunity to really get behind the scenes and see what Epicor is all about, and really get to know the faces behind Epicor and understand what you guys are doing. And a lot of times in this industry, as you know, we talk about the features and functions and the technology itself, but we thought, why not come to the headquarters of Epicor here in Austin, Texas, and find out who's making these decisions, what's the direction of the company, and what are we doing as a company?
You know, and I think that's so important, because at the end of the day, we're all making decisions of the we. Who can we work with? Who's our team? Who's got our back? And you know, one of the things I love about being here at Epicor is our executive leadership team. So I'm super excited for you to meet them, meet the people who make the decisions, make the difference, and it's going to be fun. And like I said, I'm just excited that you're, you know, going to take the time. So thank you.
Absolutely, and it's fun too, because I've met some of your executive team, not all of them. I've got a lot of tough questions I want to ask them. We are not affiliated with Epicor Software or any software vendor for that matter. We are independent, we're tech agnostic, which puts us in a unique position because we can ask you all these really difficult questions that no one else will ask.
While the camera's rolling.
While the camera's rolling, we can't edit it. Or can we? I don't know. But anyway, this will be exciting. But before we get to the tour here, and you show me around and you help me infiltrate the executive team here, maybe tell me a little about your role. What do you do here at Epicor?
I'm responsible for strategic alliances and the influencers, and that's all in regards to Epicor's growth and trajectory. We're now $1 billion. We're super excited about that, and we look to continue with that very aggressive growth trajectory. And so how do we go up market? How do we help our large customers feel like there's a big ecosystem that supports them, and that they're in good hands, that they have the power of choice, and all that's with strategic alliances, as well as the influencer selection, consulting community, global system integrators, et cetera. So we're pretty excited about kind of that impact on the business, because it's you, companies like Third Stage, and your unbiased opinion that are really our customers' coaches. And we want to make sure everybody feels really good about an investment in a look into Epicor to run their business.
Right, right. Now, before we get to the executive team and some of the other people I'm going to meet here today, tell me a little bit about your background, because I know you've talked about what you do here at Epicor, but you may work for more software vendors than anyone I know. I don't know anyone who's worked at as many software vendors as you. You've worked for what, 6 other companies, 5 or 6 others?
I have worked for 6 other ERP vendors. So, and it's almost no. So there are people, yes, who moved along to a lot of software technologies, but I think I'm the only one, at least that I've met so far, that has 7 on their background. And I really feel like I can bring the industry best practices of each to the benefit of where Epicor is at this time of this huge growth expectation. So it's kind of fun because, we've talked about, this before, and many people know this, but, the companies that I've dealt or worked for in the past include SAP, Oracle, Infor, QAD, Syspro, Bond, and now Epicor. And so it really is, there's great things about each of them that I can bring to Epicor's benefit.
How do you think Epicor compares to some of these other systems that you've been involved with and worked with over the years?
That's actually why I'm here. First and foremost, as you know, I really respect Lisa Pope. This is our 4th company together, but the culture really, between she and Steve Murphy, the culture really starts there. And what you're going to see, and why I'm so excited, and I think it's a huge differentiation, is our executive leadership team. They all have best-in-class work experiences, and they all are so accessible. I can't, there's no hierarchy, there's no ivory tower, there's no, treat somebody like potentially a deity or a rock star. These are people who put their, as you'll see, put their shoes on the way everybody else puts their shoes on. And oh, by the way, may have some good ideas that they're, willing to share. And it's a can-do attitude. Our executive leadership team always says, how can I help? What can I do? What would you like from me? And they're happy to share what their best practice is. And we have people from, Disney, Accenture, Oracle, you name it, which are obviously competitors, Lisa's, other competitors, but they all bring this great background to everybody's benefit. And the accessibility plus the know-how, I had just so much confidence in their leadership.
Right. Well, that's great. Well, that's a good starting point. However, I want to meet the executive team. I want to get to the bottom of what's going on back here behind closed doors of what decisions are being made. So can you take me around to
Absolutely.
meet some of the executives here?
I look forward to it.
Yeah, likewise. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you.
You too. Hey, Kristen.
Nice to see you.
Well, thanks for having me here today.
Love to have you here. Looking forward to talking to you. Shall we?
Absolutely.
Take a walk?
Yeah, but first, what's all this? This is your little cool little lobby area.
Yes, we basically have a little area for people to relax. We've got our Formula One TV playing right now. We've got some meetings going on, so we'll be serving lunch, and then it's just a chance for employees to let loose a little bit, play some pool or foosball, and just take a quick break. So
awesome, and you've got the '80s arcade,
we
80s style arcade.
I think that was Sam Monty's edition. And then also a nice little Star Wars game over there. So later
cool.
We can have a little competition.
Likewise, that sounds great. All right, well, shall we?
Let's go.
All right. So you're president at Epicor. What does that mean? What is your role here?
So I basically am responsible for the go-to-market. So if you think about it, everything from the brand, the Epicor brand, creating the demand, landing the customer, and then really continue to expand that relationship, right? So that's really what we consider to be go-to-market, and it's the customer-facing side, if you will, of what we do every day. So it's a great opportunity for me to get personally involved with the clients. That's one of the things I love the most. I try to spend at least 2 days a week out with clients, at their locations and really understanding what's going on. And that allows me to really make sure that we're doing everything we can to represent Epicor well in the market, and also ensure that we're delivering the right kind of solutions that they need. So it's a great role.
Right, that's awesome. Now, you in the past have also worked at other ERP vendors, Info, Oracle, and others. What drew you to Epicor, and how is Epicor different than some of these other big tech companies that you've worked for?
Well, interestingly enough, I actually started with a company that Epicor bought. It was called ERP Systems. They were based out in California, and they specialized in the automotive and hard goods sort of distribution area. So I did all the pre-sales and the customer education training. You'd find me out at an Ace hardware store with 40 locations, bopping around, training all of their sites and locations. So I really learned the industry. And so I think first and foremost for me was Epicor was right in the areas that I had really spent my last 20 years in terms of manufacturing, distribution, and retail, and that was really important to me. And then the second thing, honestly, is I wanted a seat at the table. Like, not, sort of at the table. I wanted to be making decisions, helping the company form a strategic plan, and really delivering on those results. And so for me to come here at this point in my career, I knew I could make a difference. I knew that I could help the company grow. I loved the customer-centric culture that was here. And one of the first things I did during the interview process is they let me go to their customer conference. So I got to go to their conference, meet not just the executive team, but many of the customers, and talk to them directly about why they chose Epicor. And after that, I knew it was a perfect fit.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Sounds like a great addition. It seems like you guys have assembled somewhat of an all-star team of people that have been in the industry for a long time.
Yeah,
it's
relatively great. It's literally, for me, the best executive team I've ever had the chance to work with. And then also, if I just look at my leadership team, just an incredible, passion, industry expertise, knowledge, and really good collaboration. So, the people side can't be, underemphasized.
Right.
So,
well, great.
It's been really good.
Awesome. Well, do you mind if we keep walking around?
Yeah, let's take a look down here.
Okay. So what's this here? You've got a lot of artwork everywhere, but what is Make, Move, Sell? What's this all about here?
Well, this really, I think, highlights what Epicor is all about and really reemphasizes what I talked about earlier in terms of our brand. Epicor was, largely made up of a number of acquired companies. We focused on manufacturing, distribution, retail, automotive, and we ran those companies very separately. And I think a number of years ago, we really made a decision to think through what the Epicor brand, what is it that we do every day? How do we differentiate ourselves in the marketplace? And so Make, Move, and Sell really represents these key verticals that we focus on, right? The makers, the people that are manufacturing, the movers, the people that are distributing the product, and the sellers, the people that are out there, selling and servicing those products to the actual consumers. And we're very focused across what we call the essential supply chain. So many of the products, for example, that you would see at an Ace hardware store are actually also distributed with Profit 21 software, and many of those products would ultimately be made using our Kinetic software. So it's just a great way for us to really tell the story of what we do and reiterate our focus that this supply chain and this industry focus is really unique and different compared to many of our ERP competitors.
Oh, very cool. Great. Well, it makes it very clear what you guys are about and where your areas of focus are.
Exactly. See the hard hats and the, it's not fashion, it's not frivolous, it's very much the essential supply chain. And clearly right now in this economy, it's critical, right? We wake up every day. I mentioned that earlier, but our businesses are all 7x24. What we do is mission critical. So it's really important that that's the sense of urgency and that's the culture that we bring in serving them.
So is it safe to say then you're not trying to be everything to everyone? You're not trying to provide a solution?
Absolutely not. Yeah, okay. We have not taken that approach of let's go be in 30 verticals with one big product, and try to own everything. We're very focused on our industries with a very purposeful built product. It's unique in that it also allows us to implement those products much faster and get that customer time to value much faster.
Right.
So it's a win-win.
Right. So along those lines of not being everything to everyone, there's a big debate in the industry, as you know. Is it best to have one single ERP system that does everything? Is it best to have a best of breed where you have multiple systems that do multiple things, or is it some sort of hybrid? What's your philosophy and what's Epicor's philosophy on that debate? Yeah,
I think we really view ERP as sort of your digital backbone, right? But we understand that there are many specialized applications now that our customers want that might solve a specific issue, or they just maybe have done an acquisition of another company that's running something. So we do believe absolutely that the ability to integrate other capabilities, other solutions is really part of being competitive, right? That being agile. So our customers need flexibility. So we have Automation Studio that allows companies to quickly integrate other applications that they may be running, whether that's Salesforce for CRM, Workday for HCM. Those are great examples of sort of best-in-class industry applications that may have already been in place before they made a decision to select Epicor. So we definitely want to stay open. And then also we feel strongly the same way about sort of the data side of things, right? The value of the systems isn't the processing of the transactions, it's really the insights you get from the data. So we provide a great data platform for companies that want to leverage our Grow product, but we also realize many companies have made their own decision and direction, and so they're also able to leverage those tools as well across the transactional system of Epicor. So definitely both, right? You've got to have best of both worlds, and having an open, modern, and where possible a cloud-based infrastructure just makes it easier for you to integrate and continue to quickly assimilate new capability and be able to react to competition.
Right.
So I think that's what it's all about, right? Is keeping our customers competitive, making sure they can continue to grow.
Right.
Just
gives
like
them more options too.
Absolutely.
If they want one single ERP system, that's one route they could take, or they could do a best of breed or some sort of hybrid.
Yeah, we're seeing a proliferation of private equity, and so some of our private equity companies may have a manufacturing company that runs Kinetic, and then they might have a distribution company that's running Profit 21, and then they'll leverage systems or applications to pull data together. So as I said, with the consolidation in the industry, it's really hard to have one ERP across every entity and every location, just given the nature of consolidation and what's happening today.
Right.
Well, and let me also just add, too, Epicor's commitment, and I think, this is core to your beliefs and values, is to leverage existing investments to get maximum benefit out of it. And that is our Extend products do that because they can drop in and actually complement whatever those existing investments are and take it to the next level, as opposed to, at this day and age, right, you can't just pull everything out and start all over again. We're about empowering our customers to be able to focus on their business, complement where they need, and get the maximum benefit of whatever their investment is.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Let's keep walking.
Yeah.
So you guys are growing a lot globally. Tell us a little bit about your expansion plans for now and in the future.
Yeah, I think we've had dramatic growth over the last 5 years internationally, and it's been a big part of our overall growth strategy. We've got a lot of opportunity there. We've got the ability still to bring new products overseas, right? We've recently moved our Profit 21 product to be sold overseas, as well as our BizTrack product for lumber and building materials. So in the past, we've been predominantly focused on just selling our manufacturing solutions. So we've got the ability to continue to release more of our product lines over in Europe and overseas, and then in addition, just additional scale by the geographies, right? So we obviously have strong presence in LATAM, in the UK. We've got the ability really to expand through a lot of the European countries and continue to do more expansion in Asia as well as India. So we look at both the product side and the geography side, and both of those I think are big areas.
Right.
Also, you know, we've done international, I think, very smart in terms of we've really let our customers sort of help prioritize international for us, right? So many companies now are global, right? Even a small company today can start e-commerce and all of a sudden be global overnight. So for us, as customers have expanded and have gone more global, then we're wanting to make sure that we stay ahead of that and that we're there to support them in the countries that they're operating. So we've been able to sort of scale that expansion, you know, appropriately.
Right.
And then finally, acquisitions, right? So one of the things we're always looking for is areas that complement our business. And so we have definitely been looking for acquisitions internationally that will sort of add to our scale and our product capability. We purchased Data Interchange. They're an EDI provider, very involved and very well known in Europe, and that's a good example of sort of adding to our capability globally with a specific acquisition.
Right. Now, growing the company successfully obviously depends on a solid product, but also a solid network of partners that can not only sell the product, but implement the product. In the past, one of the problems I think Epicor has had is that they didn't have a strong VAR and partner network. Going back 10 years or so, I think that was a challenge for the company in its growth. It focused a lot on the product, but not enough on the implementation network. What are you guys doing differently now that you're here and others from your team are here? What are you doing to address that, and how are you building out that ecosystem?
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. You know, when I got here, we had a channel, but it wasn't well organized. We didn't have a lot of enablement to sort of, you know, keep those partners educated and really focused on staying very committed to Epicor. So we saw a lot of churn. So one of the first things we did is we really did establish a partner and a channel environment, right? We gave them a specific territory to focus on, in some cases specific industries where they had specialization where they could focus, and made it very available and had market areas that they could then sort of get some market share in and really succeed. We expanded, brought in a couple of key people to run both of our influencer and our strategic alliances, as well as someone to run and really grow our channel. And that starts with definitely enablement. It's making sure that they're trained, that they're supported, that there's, you know, leads flowing to them, right, and that those leads are protected, right? That's where you get into a lot of issues, is sort of channel conflict. And then also working with our direct teams to understand how a channel can help. And so by raising sort of a bar that our channel can play in, what that also allowed us to do is take our direct resources, and instead of sort of saturating one market, we've been able now to take our direct sales force and really move into upper mid-market and lower enterprise, because we have a stronger channel now that can cover, you know, that SMB and lower mid-market. So we definitely have plans to continue to expand that. Obviously in international, we're a very, very strong partner channel, so we're definitely leveraging a lot of those best practices back here in the Americas to drive that same kind of revenue share. But I think lots of opportunity, not just with partners to sell the software, but as you mentioned, implementation partners. So we've definitely been looking at strategic system integrators to assist us. We're working with a number of consulting firms that do business process work. And again, as we move into larger customers, they definitely want, more choice, more capability. But I think for our core market, the idea that Epicor sold and serviced and basically supported the client, there's a lot of value in that. It does differentiate us from some of our competition because for a big piece of our market, they are able to come to Epicor, and Epicor really can do a lot. But to your point, there are areas of the market that we really did need to sort of improve our ecosystem. And we've definitely made huge gains in that in the last 5 years, and especially this next year, lots of expansion plans there.
Right. So looking not just at next year, but say the next 5 years, what are you most excited about, and where do you see the company going here in the next few years?
There's so much opportunity at Epicor. I definitely still think there's more opportunity at the upper end, right? Because we've been very successful growing into that space with our base, right? So, I have one of our strategic customers when we sold them 3 years ago was $2.7 billion. We met with them, a couple weeks ago, and now they're almost $12 billion. Their 3-year plan is to be $20 billion. So, if you'd said, let's go sell a $20 billion company, I'd probably say, well, is that really in our spot? But when you evolve with the customer and you're able to scale with them, now that we've done it, we're kind of at a point where now we're getting invited to compete on a lot more larger opportunities because we have such a large, strong reference. And so we've been able to sort of move into that space, again, sort of at a pace that allowed us to scale it, not try to make something happen. So I think that's exciting to me. We're getting a lot of market perception at that higher end, and obviously those clients are important to us with industry consolidation. You don't want to not focus on the upper end because ultimately they are purchasing a lot of the companies, in the mid-market. Right. And then I think the other thing that's really exciting to me is sort of that the SMB and that channel space. I see tremendous opportunity for us to continue to grow channels, especially vertical specific areas where we can have channel partners really bring extra expertise. So I think on both sides, we've got tremendous opportunity.
Yeah. So when you think about that opportunity, there's risk along the way and there's growing pains and challenges. What keeps you up at night? What are the things that keep you up at night?
Yeah, I think for me, the main thing is the whole culture shift from selling software and saying, okay, here, we'll implement it for you, and now we leave and you run it, right? That's the old sort of software methodology, and clearly in a SaaS environment, that relationship's changed, right? We don't leave. We stay, we're still running the software. In effect, we are running the company's backbone for them so that they can focus on their customers and their products. And so it's a very different relationship. And I think we've made huge strides inside the company, first of all, to change the culture and the mindset that we're not selling software, we are providing a mission-critical service for our clients. And so that concept of sense of urgency and making sure that you have the customer's best interest and how would this affect them if they're running 7x24 globally, right? Or you're at Ace Hardware on a Sunday when the line is out the door. How do we make sure that that they can take an order on a self-service device and whatever they may need to make sure that they can handle that kind of volume. So for us, that culture shift has certainly started within the company. But that's a big area I'll be focusing as well, especially this next year is a customer experience, really strategic initiative to continue to drive that change in our processes and the way we think, and really evolving to a service-based philosophy and understanding the mission-critical nature of what we do in this make, move, sell, because our customers are all essential. They're all, providing significant service to, the rest of the world, and so they're not, they're not businesses that can shut down, and so it's a lot of responsibility, but in a good way.
Right.
I think it's we have a really unique brand that is very focused on that essential marketplace, and so there's a purpose associated with that.
Right. Well, great. Well, I really appreciate your time today. This was a great conversation.
Thank
and it's
you.
good to hear where you guys are headed.
And looking forward to reading the book.
Yes, new book, Final Countdown. You want to read that?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Lisa. Really appreciate it. All right. We'll see you soon. So it was a great discussion with Lisa, but I'd like to get to the top dog here.
Oh,
the CEO.
of course
I want to
you
get
do.
all the way to the top. How can we make that happen?
Yeah, well, we just have it that Steve Murphy has time in his schedule. He's our Chief Executive Officer, was formerly of OpenText and Oracle, and I think he's going to provide a really great perspective
Cool.
on Epicor and kind of the vision and leadership.
Awesome. Love to meet him. Steve.
Eric, how are you?
Good to see you.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having me here today. You have a few minutes?
Absolutely. Have a seat.
All right, thanks.
Look forward to talking to you.
Likewise. Got some tough questions for you here.
I bet you do. I'm ready for them.
So, Steve, you're CEO of the company.
Yes.
You've been here for what, 5 years, 6 years?
6 years. 6 years.
Well, congratulations. It's
Thank you.
more than a lot of CEOs make it. And
That's true.
what is it you're focused on here at the company? What can we expect from Epicor here in the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think that from a focus perspective, the best thing that I can do is look outward. So when I say look outward, it's really stay in touch with our customers and make sure that they're thrilled with the product. And if we can do that, we'll continue to be very successful. And when I say thrilled, it's not an exaggeration because it's not good enough for our products to be good. They have to be great because we compete against the biggest software companies in the world.
Right.
So that's the big area of focus for me.
Right. Now, you guys are focused a lot on M&A growth as well as organic growth, but tell us a little bit about that growth strategy on both sides of the equation there.
Yeah, we do both. Most of our growth is organic, so we invest in R&D and we spend about 12% of revenue on R&D. But having said that, we'll deploy more capital over the next year to M&A in all likelihood than R&D. And in most cases, it is a customer request or something a customer's asked for where they say, we really think we'd like to buy this product if you had it, but it's got to be from a look and feel and integration perspective. Again, it's got to be holistic, it's got to be integrated into the user interface, and it's got to be something that we know our customers will really value. So in some cases, you could take a Steve Jobs that says, the customer doesn't know what they want until I tell them they want it. We don't see it that way. We think in most cases, our customers with their ERP system, they know what they want. And we really try to listen and meet those needs. And in some cases, it makes a lot more sense to buy it than make it. And in some cases, it makes more sense to make it. So that's the choice for us.
Right. That kind of leads into the whole best of breed versus single ERP system. So you have two strategies that are not mutually exclusive that you can pursue. You can build technology that's integrated end to end within one system, or you can go acquire different systems in a best of breed approach or some sort of hybrid. What's your general philosophy on that, or your general strategy going forward?
Yeah, great question, and you and I have seen this one come and go. What I will say is that for make, move, and sell, it's somewhat specialized. Whether it's a manufacturing plant or a high volume distribution center or a retail operation that may even have a fleet of service vehicles, there is a real desire for deep functionality. So best of breed, to a certain extent, has been winning the day, and it's one of the reasons we're successful. Also true that they expect the ERP backbone to connect easily to anything and everything. So that's probably one of the bigger changes in the last 5 to 10 years is with the cloud, you can get both. You can get best of breed that easily integrates into whatever else you might have in a way that you can get the reports you want, or you can get the productivity tools you want, or you get a look and feel that's easy and runs well on a device. But overall for us, we've seen best of breed continue to be the deciding factor when it comes to the make, move, and sell economy, which is where we do our business.
Right.
Yep.
So that leads to another topic here, which is implementations themselves. You talked a lot about the product and how you're growing the product suite and acquisitions and things of that nature. The implementations themselves, obviously that's just as important, arguably, maybe even more important than the product itself. So what are you guys doing to build out that ecosystem and to support partners and people that can help sell and deliver and implement the products that you're developing?
It's a huge deal. And when you think about the requirement of getting the software up and running, the customer has expectations that that's going to be done quickly and that they're going to get everything they want. So it's an area of focus for us. I think that the customer experience, to the point you just made, is probably the new competitive battleground as much as product, if not more. And for us to build the ecosystem is important and continues to be a big area of focus. If you think about it, if there aren't people out there that are skilled engineers and process people that know Epicor, we can't succeed. So we continue to recruit, spend money, and invest in partnerships and product that attract people to that ecosystem. And it's something we're having a lot more success with than we did 6 years ago. I'm not going to take any credit for it. What I will say is, with scale and user adoption, we get a stronger and stronger ecosystem. And it's quantity and quality. Some of it is just flat out investing in a channel, making sure they get a good cut, they make money on the Epicor deal. And then some of it is ensuring that they're certified and they're skilled, and when they show up, they really know our product and the customers are happy with it. But it continues to be a big area of focus. I will underscore one more time, you're probably right, that it is at least as big an issue as product.
What about internationally? I get a lot of questions from prospective clients and just people in the community that are asking about certain parts of the world, Middle East or Africa, asking, is Epicor relevant in our regions? Do we have a partner network here? Is there an ecosystem to support us? What is your view of the global strategy?
Yeah, so we definitely are relevant depending on the region, some more relevant than others. But for instance, if it's the United Kingdom, or it's Western Europe, or it's Australia, New Zealand, or some of the more populated areas of Asia like Hong Kong, Singapore, parts of China, Guangzhou, Shanghai, we have a big presence and we've got a significant ecosystem there to rely on. Every once in a while, if somebody in a faraway place wants to buy the product and there's no ecosystem, I would be the first person to tell them, hey, we need to figure that out ahead of time, because that's a big deal. But we've grown dramatically internationally. Our SaaS business has increased more than 15-fold since I started as far as our international business.
Wow.
So it's grown, it's a 9-figure business, well into the 9 figures.
Right. What are you most excited about? Like, if you look at the future of Epicor and the industry in general, Epicor's position in the industry, what are you most excited about?
It's an exciting time, and what I would say I'm most excited about is we have built and continue to build a company that has enduring value and is growing at a rapid clip. So continuing to do more of the same, which is build products customers love and products that are better than the competition, in some cases a lot better than the competition, and continue to invest in our customers in a way that they're thrilled with who we are and what we do. I think the other thing would be a culture where people want to work here and they want to stay and make it a career. We've got to promote from within so that anybody who comes to work here has a real career path. That's a big deal to me, and that's not a minor thing. That takes a lot of work. Yeah, so Eric, I think that continuing to build a company of enduring value, have it be a great place to work, and have products that our customers love. Like isn't good enough. They have to love our products is what makes me excited. And I fully intend to keep doing that. And it is exciting. It's an exciting time in this business. And we're seeing growth rates we just haven't seen before. And I think we've got a tailwind that's going to keep those going for a while.
Yeah, lots of opportunity out there for sure. What keeps you up at night when you think about that future and realizing that value or that vision of where you're headed?
I think it's mostly the 4,300 employees we have. We've got people who rely on this company for their livelihood. It's their full-time job. And I do feel a lot of responsibility to make sure that we do well enough as a company that we can pay them well, they're treated well, they get respect when they work here, they've got a career. We pay out a bonus annually, and it's my intent that we should always pay that bonus at 100% or more, and not every year. It's not always easy to do that. So making sure that our employees have a great job, a stable work environment, and want to be here, that's probably the biggest thing. The next thing would be I've got a board that I'm accountable to, and they need to feel like the company's being well run and that they're getting at least the return they expect. And if they're getting that, they generally are highly supportive of what we're doing. And we're definitely firing on all cylinders, but I still wake up in the middle of the night thinking about all of those things, and don't stay awake for too long. We're doing well enough that I tend to get a good night's sleep, but occasionally, perseverate over those topics. But people and the people who work here would be the thing I think the most about.
Great. Well, it's a good, I don't want to say it's a good problem to have, but it's a great area to focus on and make sure it doesn't become a problem. So that's a good.
That's right. The payback's big for focusing on that, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Steve, really appreciate it. Thank you for being here and joining me. And actually, thank you for having me. I should thank you for having me here. I'm joining you at your office, so thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it. You're a busy guy.
Glad to have you here, and it's been nice to get to know you, and I think that the degree of depth you have here really shows in the questions you ask. So,
great. Well,
thanks.
Thank you again. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right.
Bye.
JT is our Chief Legal Counsel, JT Taylor, and I'm super excited about this part in this conversation because many people just think legal, but in fact, compliance, regulatory standards are some of the best practices you can establish as a foundation for profitability, competitiveness, and obviously brand retention.
Right. Let's see if he's available.
JT? Knock knock.
Hi, JT.
Hey there, how are you doing?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, Eric.
Thanks for chatting today.
Absolutely, looking forward to it.
Likewise. Well, thanks again for meeting today, JT.
Absolutely, a pleasure to do it.
Yeah. So Chief Legal Counsel, tell me, what does that mean? What does that role mean, and what do you do here at Epicor?
So it's pretty simple. I'm responsible for all of the legal affairs of the company. But in addition to my CLO role, the Chief Legal Officer role, I also am responsible for our compliance and risk management across the enterprise. So
Okay.
it's those two buckets, basically.
Okay. Cool. So one of the things I know you focus on is compliance in general, and that's a big deal in the industry. What comes to mind when you think of compliance, and what are you doing to address that here at the company?
So when you think about compliance, it is such a broad term, Eric. I mean, it really is broad. So what we're really thinking about is compliance with the law, mostly in my case. But we're also thinking about what are best practices in the industry. And so when we think about compliance, it is, are our systems compliant? Are we falling within the international regulatory regime that we need to make sure that we are protecting information, that we're protecting our systems, that we're encrypting stuff, that we are really protecting our customers, which is really at the end of the day what we're about, is when you look at compliance, it's are our systems structured so that we are protecting as much as you can our customers' data, our customers' information, and how they are interacting with our overall product.
Okay, great. Now, what about data privacy? That's another big deal, especially in Europe, North America.
Data privacy is a very specific and very broad term as well. So it fits in with compliance. So when you think about data privacy, though, you're more thinking about individual kind of information. So like your name, your address, maybe your customers' names and addresses. So when we look at data privacy, we are really focused, and I have a team that is focused on ensuring that not only are we complying with the law around how we store and use your information, but we're really at the forefront of data compliance, data privacy, and that we, for instance, in our relationships with our third parties, that they are actually providing a good data compliance regime. So say that we have a third party that provides a technology solution that combines with ours. We want to make sure that they are also having systems that are compliant, that they are protecting information, and that your information is as protected as possible.
Right.
There's nothing's perfect, Eric, ever.
Right.
And the bad guys are always moving ahead very quickly, but what we're trying to do is stay ahead of not just complying with the law, but stay ahead of the bad guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense, and it's so important and top of mind for so many CIOs and IT organizations in general.
Well, and it's absolutely critical because if you think about it, we are offering a backbone service to our customers, and our customers have to trust us. And the best way to do that is to really put some effort behind compliance and data privacy for them so that they actually can rely on us to look at and understand and protect them as much as we can.
Right. So you guys are growing very quickly as a company, both organically and through acquisition. A lot of people don't realize that you guys are out acquiring a lot of different companies. From a legal perspective, what are you guys doing to manage that growth and to make sure that it goes off without a hitch and it helps your customers be more successful in the future?
So growth, that's a great question, Eric. Growth is always a challenge, whether it's organic or inorganic. And from my perspective, where I see the most need for focus from my group and my team is the inorganic growth. And so we have acquired a number of companies over the past year, and we'll continue to do that. And so when we are looking at a company, we're looking at it both from the product set as well as the contribution that it can make to the overall business. When I and my team are looking at this growth, what we're trying to focus on is, does the acquisition, the target, have good systems in place? Do they have Again, we talked a little bit about compliance earlier. Do they have good compliance in place? What kind of uplift do we need to give to them and their systems in order to make sure that they come up to our standards in terms of what they do on a business operations basis, what they do on a compliance basis, what they do on a legal basis? And so we want to make sure that they come into the fold and that they're able to meet our requirements. And so what I'm really looking for is not only are they a good acquisition for the company, but can we bring them in and get them integrated within the company from a legal perspective?
Right.
There's also the technical perspective, which is very hard, the accounting perspectives. There's a lot of perspectives in this acquisition process. It's a very complex process, but it really helps give us an advantage, and we are really poised to continue to make these acquisitions. The company, Epicor, is in a great financial position in order to go out and find those companies that fit within our product set and actually expand our product set so that we can offer more to the customers.
Right.
And we want to do it in a way that continues to take the customer experience into account and make sure that we're providing for the customer.
Right, right. So you've got a lot on your plate. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to think about and worry about and address as part of all this growth and the macro legal type stuff that's happening
That's
in the world.
correct.
What, if you look at everything on your plate right now, what keeps you up at night? What are you most worried about, or just what keeps you up at night?
So there's really two things that I think a lot about. First of all is what we talk about a lot, which is data privacy. So that's an ever-evolving, as we discussed, an ever-evolving space, and we're always looking at trying to make sure, like I said, that our systems and the things that we do stay up to date so that we can offer that to the customer. Remember, at the end of the day, this is about offering a good experience to the customer and making the customer feel comfortable to work with us, right? And it is a combined effort with the customer on the data privacy piece of this and the data regulations. They've got responsibilities and we've got responsibilities. It's what they call a shared environment, and so it's the only way to go. And so we need to have a trust-based relationship with our customers in this area. So that's one of the things that I am always focused on. I have a team of 8 people, 8 out of my team, almost half, that
Wow.
look at risk, data privacy, regulations, all those kinds of things so that we can stay ahead of that. The second bucket is people. It is really challenging to make sure that you have the best folks in the right seats so that we can provide that continuing offering to the customer that is ahead of the curve, that is an actual benefit for them, that helps their business, that gives them some comfort that their ERP system is going to help them be successful. And so finding the people and retaining those people it's a real challenge sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, so legal and compliance is a big deal here at the company, and it sounds like you're doing what you can to stay on top of it and grow those capabilities and make sure you're doing what's best for the customers.
Absolutely, and the idea is to do as best as we can for the customer. There's no guarantees ever. It's a shared journey with everybody, but I've got some of the best folks on my team, and they are the ones that really enable us to help the customer and help the customer have a good experience.
Great. Well, I appreciate you being here today. This was a great conversation, very helpful to get to know you and see what you're doing
It's
here
nice
at
to meet
Epicor.
you, Eric. I appreciate it. They're good questions.
Yeah, thank you. Great meeting you. So who are we meeting next?
We are meeting Rich Muir, our CIO, and
Okay.
I particularly enjoy time and am very impressed with Rich because he's very generous about sharing the Epicor cybersecurity strategy, not only how he keeps us safe, but also for our customers. And he's presented this billion-dollar strategy to trade associations, communities, etc., so that people have a chance to actually benefit from, the best practices of a large company, even though they might be less than 50 million, less than 10 million. And moreover, and very innovatively, he's packaged that up as an MSP So again, those $10 to $20 million companies can actually take advantage of a $1 billion strategy that they would never even be able to afford the talent, but they can take those best practices and be that safe and secure. And that applies to an MSP for their own businesses, or if they choose to run their business on Epicor, or if they're even just knowing that they're working with Epicor, their data is safe. So Rich is also a very diverse and creative person, so I'm really
Oh, cool.
excited for you to meet him as well.
Great, let's do it.
Rich?
Hi, Rich.
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Good to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for the time today.
Yeah, of course.
So when I was walking in through your glass window here, I noticed you have a autographed guitar. What's this about?
We do. So One Republic signed that guitar. They were
cool.
our entertainment at our customer conference called Insights a few years ago. So I'm one of the musicians here, so that ended up in my office.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you're a music guy, and there's multiple of you here.
I am, yeah. We've got quite a few talented musicians and singers here, and we actually did a battle of the bands a few years ago. So you probably know this. Austin's a big music town.
Yeah.
So there's a group called HAM, Health Alliance for Austin Musicians, and they sponsored a battle of the bands, and we got some folks together, and it was the first time ever we actually won the contest, which was kind of cool.
Oh, very
We had
cool.
a good time, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
way to balance out the techie stuff that you work on every day.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of fun.
Good deal. Would you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Of course.
Great. Let's have a seat. So thanks again for taking the time, and
Of course.
your job here, a part of your job, I assume, is building out the cloud infrastructure for your customers. Is that right? Or maybe describe what you do. That'd
Yeah,
be a better way to
that's
start.
right. So really it's post-implementation is operating our cloud for our customers really across the globe.
Okay. And how are you doing that? From what I understand, it's Azure that you're building the cloud infrastructure on?
Yeah, it is. Now, it started in Colo, like a lot of companies, several years ago, but when we really started to experience the growth, we recognized, Colo was not going to be the right strategy for us, and so we very thoughtfully, selected a vendor, went with Azure, and we have now grown that to multiple dozens of data centers across the globe, and really happy with it.
Right. Now, you mentioned across the globe. What is that international growth strategy as far as building that cloud strategy? How does that look from a global perspective?
It's really going where our customers are. So, as you know, we have customers across the globe. One of the things I like about Azure is they've done a great job, building this very capable infrastructure really anywhere we need it on every continent. So as we continue to expand internationally, what we're finding is Azure is there for us, and it allows us to ramp up our products in a particular geography or market very, very quickly, versus if we had to do that with Colo.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of our clients, and I imagine a lot of your customers too, are focused on data security, data privacy, all that stuff, and just protecting themselves from cyber attacks and things of that nature. What is it? How are you addressing that at Epicor, and how do you assure your customers that the data is safe, the software is safe, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, great question, and we get this question all the time, understandably from customers, and really, we think of security as part of something else, really reliability, which is a pretty common cloud term, and for us, reliability is a three-legged stool: stability, scalability, and security. So customers want all three of those. And we design our products to meet those three needs, and security is certainly a part of that. Azure has been a help for all three of those, to include security, but we go well beyond just the sort of native Azure tools on the security side, and I think it built a pretty good ecosystem of vendors and services that we wrap around our products to make sure they're secure. And you're absolutely right, our customers want and need and demand that from us, and so for us to maintain and continue earning their trust, we have to demonstrate that we are secure, and I think we've done a pretty good job at that. We've made some very significant investments in both talent and technology, and we'll continue to do that to make sure that we are a credible and secure cloud provider.
Right. Yeah, and it's such a selling point, I would imagine, or it's such an
Absolutely.
important thing that your customers are thinking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. What about risks and things that keep you up at night? What are the things that you most worry about, whether it's cybersecurity or anything else we have or haven't talked about?
Yeah, well, look, we definitely touched on one, right? I think anybody in my role would be concerned about security. I do think the investments we've made have gone a long way to give me some peace of mind, although we're never going to rest on our laurels from a security perspective, but that's something we are, I would say, vigilant about, keeping an eye on it 24/7. I think also just making sure that we have a really firm handle on how is this environment running across the globe 24/7. So we never want to be surprised by a customer if they have a stability, scalability, security event. We want to address those things proactively before our customer sees them. And so I don't know if that necessarily keeps us up at night, but it certainly keeps us very busy, making sure that we have the best understanding of how our cloud is running 24/7 on behalf of our customers.
Right. Now, I've talked with other executives so far today about the growth strategy through M&A and acquiring other products and how that sort of fits into the overall product offering. How does that affect you, or how are you supporting that, and how does that change your job and your view of the world by having these different systems that you guys are acquiring?
Yeah, it's a partnership, so all of us understand we're definitely looking to grow and have successfully grown via M&A, but we will continue to be thoughtful about the technology we take on. So in addition to the financial advantages we get from M&A, we're also looking to make sure we take on technology sound organizations, ideally organizations that are already in the cloud, that have designed for those things I've already mentioned, right? That we're taking on stable, scalable, secure systems. So it's definitely something we all put a lot of thought and due diligence into to make sure we're not taking on a great deal of tech debt. Or if we do take on some tech debt, it's something we can address rapidly and cost effectively.
Right, right. Well, great. Well, this is good stuff. I appreciate you taking the time to explain some of the things that happen behind the scenes, and really you're providing the backbone of what your customers see, which is that back-end cloud delivery of the solution. So it's really helpful to hear that.
Yeah, you bet.
All right. Thanks. It's great seeing you.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Thanks a lot. So far, a lot of the executives have talked about culture.
Yes.
And the people that you have here on the team. I'd love to meet your CHRO to learn more about
Oh, yeah, and I think, you've already asked the question once, what is the difference about Epicor of the 7? And it definitely absolutely is culture. And Juliet Patterson, our CHRO, kind of runs that and defines that for us. So I'm really excited for you to meet her.
Oh, great. Juliet?
Hello.
Hi, I'm Eric.
Nice to meet you, Eric.
Nice to
Juliet
meet
Patterson.
you. Yeah, thank you. Do you have a few minutes?
I do.
Love to have a seat and ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks. Well, thanks again for taking the time here today, Juliet.
Yes.
And I understand you're the CHRO, but maybe tell us, what is the CHRO and how do you fit into the executive team here at Epicor?
Sure. So the CHRO, Chief Human Resources Officer, is really I would say the primary advocate for the employees. So I focus on workforce planning, organizational design, making sure we're in compliance and we're operating under the appropriate labor laws in every country that we're in. So just making sure that we, from a corporate standpoint, are able to staff properly, train our folks, and reward and recognize them.
Okay. And how many employees do you have roughly?
We have 4,500 employees across the globe, about 40 different countries, and over half of our employees are actually outside of the United States, about 60%.
Okay.
With our biggest offices in Bangalore, India, and Monterrey, Mexico.
Okay. Great. Well, that's interesting. So what are some of the big things that you're focused on? Because you started here, about a year ago? Is that right?
Well, I came up through the ranks.
Okay.
Epicor is very much a promote from within culture. So I was I started as a director here and worked my way up, and then when the opportunity arose, our CEO promoted me into the head of HR seat. So
cool.
I came into the role about a year ago. And since then, I've been primarily focused on enhancing the employee experience. And this is an important competitive advantage that we have. So just making sure that from the time we offer somebody a role to the time they join us, that we're taking those opportunities to engage with them so that when they do join us, they're ready to hit the ground running, get trained, and become productive. So also part of the employee experience is making sure they feel like they are able to learn, they can empower themselves and find resources to learn and grow, and that they're recognized and rewarded for the efforts that they provide to us.
Right. So that sort of leads into culture and values. How would you describe the culture of the company, both in terms of maybe the way it is today, but also where you're trying to take it or how you're trying to shape that culture going forward?
We're a 50-year-old company, And our average tenure is 8 years with the company, so that's pretty long for a software company. So I asked that same question, and we went out and polled all of the employees across the globe. What are the things you like? What are the values that you identify with in Epicor? What's your experience been like? And the resounding themes centered around what's now our corporate values, which are proud, proactive partners. So proud means that we love what we do what we say. Proactive means that we're able to quickly and efficiently solve problems and do that, before things get really out of hand. And then partners being, we're a team and we win as one. So those were the themes that came back to us and we adopted them. They're kind of easy to remember because they start with the P's, but those are plastered all over our campuses, all our different offices.
Right.
And those are really I would say the core values that drive our behaviors and how we measure performance and just how we get along with each other, through interactions and just the way that we collaborate and communicate. That it's all around being proud, proactive partners.
Right.
And it's not just within Epicor. That's how we show up with our customers as well. Because you can't have a good customer experience without a good employee experience.
Right. I was just going to ask you that. How does the employee experience is great. If it's a great place to work, that's great. But if I'm a customer or a potential customer of Epicor, why should I care what you're doing? I guess that's maybe more of a general question.
Right.
How does that create that competitive advantage?
Absolutely. It's so important for employees to show up with our customers as engaged and partnering so that they're solution-oriented, they're proactive in identifying solutions and ways that our products can bring value to the customer. So our values transcend, the employee experience and into the customer experience. That's what we would hope that our customers say our employees are, which are our values.
Right. That's great. Well, what are some of the reasons why an employee should work at Epicor? If someone's interested in maybe focusing in on a certain software technology in the ERP world, why Epicor? Why should we pick Epicor to be the software we focus on?
Yes. So we're a complex business, but we're also, I would say, small enough to be impactful, and there's an entrepreneurial spirit here. There's not a lot of, I would say, red tape that you get at the larger companies. So if you have a good idea, you could probably get that through and implemented pretty quickly. So if you have a desire to work in a quick, fast-paced environment, you have that entrepreneurial spirit, and you like to see how you can make an impact and see the fruits of your labor, this is the place for you. I mean, that's exactly, I would say, how our employees conduct themselves.
Great. Great. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today, Juliet. This is super helpful, and it's always fun to see, what are the faces behind a big software company, and you're really leading the charge and sort of the tip of the spear as far as building that culture and finding the right talent, keeping the right talent that helps enable that. So I really appreciate your time here today.
Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate the interest in Epicor.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Thank you, Eric, for such a great day, and I appreciate you taking all the time to get to know our executives, and hopefully you've seen what we're talking about in terms of thought leadership and the potential benefit it would have for third stage clients. But I really appreciate your interest and getting to know us better.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking me behind the scenes, because I've always wanted to do this, to get behind the scenes of a software company and see how the sausage is made. Really appreciate it.